Hello everyone, in this video we are going to learn how to efficiently and effectively use pattern feature command. So let's start. Here is the command of pattern feature, and what do you mean by pattern? It is going to copy features into many patterns or layout. So here you can see, yes, we have the path navigator. So once we are going to apply the pattern feature, this will be reported as pattern feature, and in that we will have multiple instances. That means it is going to generate the copies of the features while applying some directive laws. Laws means it is going to have apply some rules. So you can relate to this, like in the copy there is a simple copy paste, but in the pattern feature it is going to copy with certain laws, or you can say as certain definition or rules. So let's start. Here we have different bodies currently in the graphics window, which is going to be get used for different kinds of pattern definition. Pattern definition means pattern rule or pattern law. So let's start. I have already distributed the layers to these different models. So I suggest you all to kindly use the layers to work efficiently in Sims and X. If you have not watched my video on layers, you can also watch that to learn about how to use the layers. Now let's start. I'm going to start with the very first layer, which is going to be as layer 1. And from layer 1, we are going to learn the pattern definition of linear. So let's start. Just click on pattern feature. And here I'm going to reset this command. Before you are going to apply the command, just reset it, because it is going to reset all the settings to be as default condition. Now here the feature is going to be this. The feature is said to be as whatever you are going to pattern. So feature to pattern here. So you must understand the language of the software, like what is feature to pattern, what are the boundary conditions, and what are the pattern definition. This I have already been mentioned about the pattern definition. Like we have certain definitions here, which we are going to cover in this video one by one. Basically there are 8 definitions, and we are going to cover all the definitions so quickly that it is going to be get interesting and motivating. So I'm going to click on linear, and this is going to be the direction 1. Direction 1 is going to be this edge. You have to select the edges. So I'm going to reverse the direction because I need the pattern to be get featured in this direction. Now I'm going to use the direction 2 as well. It is all up to you whether you want to use this direction or not. Okay, so I'm going to use the direction 2 so that you can have the more option regarding the linear. And again I'm going to reverse the direction because earlier it was coming in this direction, whereas I need in that direction. So I'm going to increase the count. So basically we have certain options here, like we have the count and pitch, count and span, pitch and span, and list. Pitch means center to center distance, or you can say as point on this entity to the corresponding point on the next entity is said to be as pitch. And count and span means the total distance it is going to be get covered. Pitch and span means the mid distance, like this, from this point to this point is the pitch, and span is going to be the entire length. So it is going to calculate the number of entities on its own. And last we have the list, in which we can give the spacing value and number of counts. Okay, so let's start with the count and pitch. So in the pitch I'm going to put the value as, so in the count I'm going to put the value as 8, because I need the 8 number of patterns in this direction, with the pitch distance as 10. So let's increase this pitch, and I'm going to decrease this. So it's all about the idea that how you are going to make the pattern here. And this is going to be as 5, and the distance is going to be as 6. Okay, not 6, the distance is going to be as 12. And here I'm going to decrease this to 4. Now click on show results, and if this seems to be okay, just click on OK. Now press home. This is the very first pattern, which is said to be as linear pattern. Now I'm going to activate the layer 2 for the next pattern definition and going to make it as work layer. So from this we are going to learn the circular pattern. Now just go to the pattern feature, and here I'm going to put the definition as circular. features to pattern, this is the feature which I need to be get circulated here. And the vector is going to be this. How to choose the vector? Now the basic point is how to choose the vector here. So if the entity is going to be get circulated along a particular axis or along a particular direction, you have to choose that particular direction as vector. Suppose if I choose this as the vector for the rotation, so you know that this is not going to be circulated in that particular direction. So we need to select the vector along which it is going to be get circulated. So that's why I am going to select the y-axis as the direction vector. Now specify the point. So I'm going to pick the center point as the point for the pattern. Now we are going to have the top view for this, and this is how it is going to get moved. So if I just click on show result, you can see these are intersecting to each other, and the distance is going to be get covered till here. So I'm just going to undo the results, and here we have the count and span. Span means the total distance. So I'm going to use the span as 360 from here to here. Okay, so from here, like if I just start from here, and it will have the complete revolution and then will end here. And the number of entities are going to be 12. Earlier we have used the count and pitch, and now we have used the count and span, so that we can cover all the spacing definitions also. Pitch means point to corresponding point distance, and span means the total distance. And here this is going to be 360, and click on show results. So this is how we can use the circular pattern. And in circular pattern, we have an option. If I just click on create concentric members, it is going to create this concentric members also. So just click on show results so that you can analyze what is meant by radiate. So this is how it is going to radiate. So if I just click on undo result, earlier if without concentric members, like if I just untick this, I am going to get the pattern over here only. But if I just click on the create concentric members, increase the count to 4, and pitch is going to be get covered in the distance of 20. So it will be like this. And if I just click on show result, so here will be the circular pattern with the option of create concentric members. I hope this is clear to you. Now let's go to the next pattern. And the next pattern is going to be in the layer 3. So I'm just going to make the layer 3 as the work layer. This is the pattern definition which is going to be get connected with the polygon. So I'm just going to the top view so that you can analyze the number of sides in this model. So in this model we have number of sides as 10. Let's count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. I'm just counting for making your interest so that there would be no doubt left that how we are going to get connected with this definition. Now just go to the pattern definition here, and here I'm going to choose the pattern definition as polygon. In the polygon, the number of sides are going to be 10. So before we dive into the definitions, just read the dialog box carefully, that what dialog box asks from you. So first it is asking for the features to pattern. So this is the feature which is going to be get pattern. Then it is asking for the reference point which is going to be get auto-picked by the dialog box. So we do not have to disturb this reference point. Later we have the pattern definition, and in the pattern definition I have already chosen as polygon. Later it will ask you for the rotation axis, which we have already covered how to give the vector in the circular definition. So I'm going to just click on the vector here, the specify point. So I have already specified the point here. This is going to be the point, and the number of sides are going to be 10, which we have just counted, and the number of counts are going to be 2 only on per side. So this is going to be look like. Here again we have the concentric members which we have already covered. Now just click on show results. So this is how we can use the pattern definition of polygon to assign the patterns along the polygon. Okay, so this is how we can use the polygon definition. Now let's move to the next definition, which is going to be in the 4th layer. So just close this, press home. So from this we are going to learn how to give the spiral pattern. So in the case of spiral, we have certain examples like we have a coil in the spiral form. So here we are also going to have that. So now let's start. Just go to the top view. So this is the top view, and I'm going to have the pattern feature. And in the pattern feature, I'm going to have the definition as a spiral. And here I'm going to select this as the feature to pattern. And here I need to select the plane normal. So plane normal is going to be this vector. Basically, it is asking for the vector which is going to be normal to the plane. So the top plane is the plane on which I need the spiral. So what will be the direction which is going to be get normal? It is asking that in this particular option. So this is going to be the this axis, and this is going to ask me for the reference vector. Reference vector means, let me just show you through the demonstration so that it would be easier for you to understand. So basically it was asking me for this direction. I can either choose this one also, so it will be like this. So it is all up to you that which vector you want to choose as the reference vector, but make sure it should be in the direction of the plane, like either the x vector or the y vector. And if you need the top plane to be the plane on which you are going to have the pattern, then make sure to select the z vector as the specified plane normal. Now let's go to the top view. Now here I can increase or decrease this distance, which is said to be as radial pitch. So it is all up to you that what radial pitch you want to select here. Then we have the pitch along spiral. So pitch along spiral means this is the pitch along spiral. That means the point to corresponding point of the next entity along with the spiral is going to be as pitch spiral. And I am going to increase it to 80, and this is going to be get increased. Now here we have the number of turns, and the number of turns are going to be get increased to 5 so that you could have a large visualization of the pattern, that why it is said to be as a spiral. So this is the reason of being called as a spiral. Now let me just decrease this, otherwise the system will take so much time to incorporate with this pattern. Now the turns are going to be 2. This is the radial pitch and this is the pitch. You can also check for these settings, that what is right hand, what is left hand, and how we can have the total angle or the number of turn. It is all up to you that how these settings are going to be get applied. Basically we are going to cover the basics along with some twist in the commands. Okay, so here we also have some rotation angle if you want to give the rotation angle like this. So this is all up to you how to use the rotation angle, and I'm just going to click on show results so that we could have the visualization of the pattern. So this is how it is going to take place. So this is the pattern which we have just made through the spiral definition. Next we have the layer 5, and in the layer 5 we are going to cover the topic of along pattern definition. Now this is the sphere which is going to be get patterned on this body but in the specified direction. Now if I just go to the pattern definition, which we have already covered, like we have covered about the linear, circular, polygon, spiral. But what if I ask to you that I need the pattern of this feature to be get moved along this face? So for that we have the along pattern definition here, and here I'm going to choose this feature as the pattern definition. Then here it will ask you for the path. So I'm going to select this as path, this entire curve. Now here I'm going to select the arc length, and arc length is going to be as 40, or keep it as 20. Then the count are going to be 4 or 2. Then here we have the reverse direction, because earlier it was coming in this direction. That's why I have just reversed the direction, and I'm going to increase it to 4 or 5. If you have carefully observe that there was an error before I just reversed the direction like this. If I just reverse the direction, so here you can see, here comes an alert. You do not have to afraid of this, just to be very careful that how the direction is going to take place. Like I have just been relaxed while this alert has came, so be relaxed while using the NX and do have faith on your skills. Okay, so I'm just going to reverse this direction and click on show result. So you can see this is how it is going to take place. Just click on OK. And in this case, you can see also we can use the direction 2 also. So I am going to use the direction 2 and this is going to be direction 2 and click on OK. Same case as the linear, and this is how we can use the along pattern definition. Now let's move to the next pattern definition, which is going to be get covered in the layer 6, and this is going to be as general. For this I am going to turn on the layer 2 as well, so that I can teach you this with the reference. Now in this case I'm just going to have the pattern definition, and in the pattern definition I'm going to choose the definition as general. Then in this case the feature is going to be get pattern to this, and general means simply copy paste, and the rule is going to be get here pick point and the drop point. So from wherever you are going to pick, that is going to be get reference, and that point is going to be land on where you are going to have that drop. Okay, so here is the location, the center point, you can see. So I need to pick this. Just go to the point dialog, and here I am going to choose it as arc, ellipse or sphere center, and click on this sphere. It will automatically pick the center. Now here it is asking for the 2 point. So 2 point is going to be the center of this, because I need this to be get copied to this point. So just click on this and click on show result. This is how we can use the general pattern definition, and click on undo result. If I need this to be at this point also, at this point also, so now we can have the show results. So this is how we can use the general pattern definition. Okay, so now let's move forward to the next layer, which is going to be as layer 7. Make it as work layer, and to make the work layer you just have to double click. Okay, so I have made the 7th layer as the work layer. Now click on close, and here we are going to learn about the pattern definition of reference patterns. Now just go to the pattern feature. Now as the name suggests you, for the reference with some dots. Now if we just go to the definition, because this is very unique pattern definition as the reference, because this is going to use the reference of the earlier pattern definition. That means you need to have some pattern in the graphics window, only then you can use the reference. In the definition also you can see there lies a word which states that existing pattern. So it should be clear with the user that it is asking for the existing pattern. So make sure that there should be an existing pattern in the graphics window. If there is no existing pattern in the graphics window, then the command is not going to be get applied with the pattern definition of reference. So make sure to have some pattern definition. Like in this case, I have already defined the pattern definition of linear. Now let's understand this pattern definition. Just select the feature. This is the hole which I have applied to this body, and then the pattern definition is going to be this, and this is going to be the base point. Just click on OK. So this is how we can use the pattern definition of reference. Simple? No, this is not as simple as this seems to be. Now let's create some confusion here. Just go to the layer 1, because we are here to clear all the doubts. Now you can see there is the difference between these two bodies. This is the singular body and these are the multiple bodies. Like this is not united with this, however this is united with this. Now I'm going to give a hole at this location. So for that I'm just going to have the WCS to be get placed here, 2.5, and this is also going to be 2.5. And just go to the hole command. If this concept is going to be get cleared with you, then you are going to be get an expertise in the reference pattern. Now I'm just going to give it as 2, and the point here is going to be in the point dialog. This is the point dialog, and make sure to put it as WCS, then 0, 0 and 0. Just click on OK. Now click on OK. Here the body is this only, okay? In the case of subtract, just click on OK. I will show you that why I have highlighted the body for the subtract in the operation of whole. Now just go to the pattern definition of reference, and here the feature is going to be this one, and the pattern is going to be this, and the base point is going to be this, and click on OK. Now here comes the failure pop-up. Why so? Because in the case of the pattern reference definition, it is the software is going to be get confused that from which body the whole is going to be get made, because this is different body and these are different body and these are and this is different. So make sure whenever you are going to apply the reference pattern to use the bodies carefully. I'm not going to use the word as united for each and every body. To use the body carefully, that from which body you are going to subtract what. Why so? Because if you're not using the bodies carefully for the case of reference, it will throw an error that I am unable to do this, I am unable to do this, and it will create the confusion among the users that how the reference pattern definition is going to get applied on the body. So while using the reference, make sure that the reference should be properly referenced from which you have used the Boolean operations. Okay, so this is how we can use. And in the case of reference pattern, I have just missed one thing. If I just go to the edit with rollback, the base point. So what is this? So if I just click on this as the base point, basically it is going to show you some points which are going to be as instance handle. So it is basically asking you that from where I need to start. Okay, so here is the base point and it will travel like this. If I just select this, so it will travel like this in this direction. So basically it is asking for the base reference only. Okay, so press home and we are left with the last pattern, and this pattern is going to be the Helix pattern. Just press home and I'm going to turn off the layer 1 also. So suppose if I need the copy of this body to be get covered along this cylinder but in the helix, like we have this spring. Okay, so I'm just going to the pattern feature, and in the pattern feature we have the layout as helix, and in helix I'm going to select this feature, and the vector is going to be this, which we have already covered about the vector in the circular pattern definition. And here I'm going to select this point as the point for the specify point, and here we have the rules here, like we have the right hand or left hand. This is the left hand and this is the right hand. Then we have the count angle distance, which you can try on your own also, like how we are going to have this. And here I'm going to simply choose it as count angle and distance, and in the count I'm going to give the count as 8, and the angle is going to be get increased by 60 so that there would be a smoother turn like this. So this is the angle which I can increase or decrease, and this is the distance. So the user friendly thing of this software is that on whatever thing you are going to click, like if I just go to the angle, it will change its way. Like here you can see this is the angle. If I just go to the distance, so this is the distance. So I do not need to specify verbally that what is this, what is this. It is much clear in the graphics window that what is distance and what is the angle. Now just click on show results. So this is how we can use the pattern definition of Helix. Now before we move forward, there is one thing which you can use in each and every pattern definition. Okay, so now let me just clear with that with the demonstration. Suppose if I do not need the sphere at this point, somewhere from the mid of this. Okay, I'm not going to pick the last point because that would be considered as a cheating. So I'm going to pick any of the instance from this curve. Suppose if I do not need the instance to be get placed here, simply hover your mouse here and do the right click and then click on delete and then click on OK. Now you can see we are not getting the instance here. Instance means basically the feature which is going to be get pattern. So this is how we can use the pattern definitions. So I am going to activate all the pattern definitions and click on home. So this is how it will look like. Let's have a quick recap of the pattern definitions, and I am going to compare this from where we have started. Now you can see clearly that we have the top views of both the features. This is after pattern and this is before pattern. Here we have used the linear pattern definition with both the direction. This is the direction 1 and this is the direction 2. Here we have used the circular pattern definition. We have learned about the vector, and along with that we have also learned about the concentric members. Then we have the polygon pattern definition here, and what are the number of cards along the each side. Then this is the spiral. You can see here like a coil. This is the spiral pattern definition. This is the along pattern definition, and this is the general pattern definition. And in the case of general pattern definition, we have learned about the pick and drop point. Then we have the reference pattern, which is going to be unique. Why so? Because you have to take care of the body, whether it is united or not, and whether the reference has been properly picked up or not. Later on, we have also discussed about the base point and how to give the base point. And along with that, we have also become familiar with the reference pattern definition, that there should be an existing pattern definition in the graphics window. And then we have the Helix pattern definition. We have learned about how this software is user friendly with the dialog options. Like we have picked the angle, so it will show you the angle in the graphics window. If you are going to pick up the vector or the distance, it will clearly show you the vector or the distance along which it is going to get moved in the graphics window. And at last, we have also learned about how to miss an instance from the pattern definition by just simply click on the point and then have the right click and then select the delete option. So this is all in this video. If you have learned something new from this video, please do hit a like, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you so much.